Welcome into Sports Idiot Nation. Today we'll find out why I'm nervous about going 0-4 on my Thanksgiving Day picks. We'll get you ready for the rest of your football weekend, including rivalry weekend in college football, and we'll answer this week's question of the week.
Sports, comedy, pop culture, and everything in between. By idiots, for idiots.
This is Sports Idiot Nation.
Sports, comedy, pop culture, and everything in between. Welcome back, sinners. This is Season 2 of Sports Idiot Nation.
Welcome into Sports Idiot Nation. It is Friday, Black Friday. It's gotta be black.
Man. I thought all Fridays matter.
Right? That's a different kind of show. This is Sports Idiot Nation. We come to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It is I, Adam Marino, with Mr. T.I, Titans Idiot. Be sure to follow us at all the Cineverse, Sports Idiot Nation. Of course, the Godfather is Titans Idiot Nation. We got Turtles Idiot Nation, but it's all about Gridiron Idiot Nation, I think, today. So we're going to talk all things the foosball. And go ahead and take your shots, T.I. I am 0-3 going into today's matchup with the Bears and Eagles.
What an idiot, man. 0-3. I mean,
for goose egg.
I mean, I'm 1-2. I'm 1-2.
Not much better.
Not much better.
Packers, Weedham
got
Boys, and the Bungles.
Packers.
All three in there. So
yeah,
let's start.
I don't know. Packers had. I just something told me the Packers were going to pull it out. Detroit Lions usually lose on Thanksgiving. It's death, taxes, Lions losing on Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
but
I don't know why I thought it. I should have known based on this stat coming. This is crazy to me. So the Fighting Dan Campbells coming out of the city of Detroit are a whopping 0-7 on their last fourth down opportunities, in which they just simply don't kick the ball, either punt it or kick a field goal. I don't understand. You pay these guys, they're on your team. Whenever they don't make it, these guys got to just be shaking their head, these kickers, like, hey, coach, I maybe put me in, maybe give me, hey. It's just,
hey, these games that we're losing by like 3 and 6 points. There are 12 of them that I could have got for you in this game.
I just don't.
But you chose not to use me. Dan Campbell. I mean, players coach. We get that, but he's like Mr. Big Balls. Walking up the blackjack table, staring at a 20. He's like, hit me. Probably not going to work out in your favor. Okay, man. Probably not going to work out in your favor. But at some point, it's like he decides to take over the offense. That's great. Then the first game he calls where they score like 50 points, everybody's like, oh, he can do it all. And maybe he doesn't need to be calling the offense. Maybe he just needs to focus on making sound decisions as a coach, because
0-7.
You just you 0-7 on fourth downs, and it's oftentimes like, not only are they in field goal range for sure, but sometimes he's out here at like the 50, just, all right, I'm going to dial it up. All right. Instead, you're just going to give your opponent incredible field position. And all they do is make, and instantly, every time they attack, it's like whenever they turn it over and downs, the very first play, the quarterback airs it out every single time, no matter who they're playing. They're just like, okay, we're going to flip that field position on you real quick, Mr. Dan Campbell.
So here's something I want to see what you think. There's two kinds of coaches. One type of coach says, I don't care what the other team does. They need to adjust to us. We're going to impose our will. And then there's a coach that says, okay, this team likes to do X, Y, Z. We're going to really work hard to take away X and Z. We can't take everything away, but we're going to adjust the way we drop our safeties, or we're going to full court press in basketball, or whatever, right? There's two types.
Those are your Belichick's, your Andy Reid's, those style of
and
coaches.
Dan Campbell, here's the issue I have with Dan Campbell. He's the other type, right? They have to adjust to us. Okay, here's the problem. The Packers did adjust. You know what they did? First fourth down, touchdown. You know what they did on their second fourth down they went for? Touchdown. So you cannot be this guy who just boom says, no, we are going to do this no matter what, no matter what, no matter what. Because here's the deal. When a team does adjust and say, well, I know they're going to go for it on fourth down, so we better adjust. We better do it too. They can't do it better than you. It doesn't work that way. You have to be better at it than them. If that's who you are, if who you are is we go for it on fourth down, then guess what? You can't be 0 for 7 and 2 for 2. You can't give up touchdowns. You cannot do that.
Get your identity stolen. Get your identity stolen real quick.
Identity theft's a real problem, Jim.
You're gonna be down in the Social Security office trying to prove yourself.
It's bad news. It's bad. It's just bad.
And I just can't imagine. I know how frustrating I get when I feel like my coach makes a gamble that I don't agree with. There are times when a fourth down is inevitable. We know you're going to go for it. 4th and 1, a 4th and 2, maybe you're on the 43-yard line. Like, I get that.
Yeah.
But to have a coach who
Every
consistently,
fan has that. Every fan has that.
yeah. But
I want Shanahan sometimes to go for it, and they punt. Deep down, I know that's probably the better move, but like as a fan in the stands, I'm like, oh, go for it. But I know deep down, like, okay, yes, go ahead, punt it, right?
Yeah, but to be a fan of the team and consistently watch him do it over and over, there just has to be a breaking point where you're like, I can't with this guy. I mean, I know they love him. He's turned the whole thing around. He's a great coach. Every team would love to have a Dan Campbell. But when you see him consistently making these mistakes and people be like, oh, that's just Dan being Dan, it's like, okay, well, at the end of the year, when they're the odd man out or anything because of these bonehead plays, you're not going to feel, you're not going to be like, oh, well, that's just Dan being Dan. You're going to be like, well, shit, Dan, all you had to do is kick 3 field goals. We'd be in the playoffs,
Right. That's
playoffs.
Big. That's big. No, you're absolutely right. But here's the issue. Detroit is so at a spot where they're not used to this that and I respect them for this. They're ride or die. They're not changing. They're not going to complain because he brought it. They're relevant. I saw the interview before the game with Jahmyr Gibbs and who was the running back for Alabama who won the Heisman, who played with the Saints, who now interviews
Mark Ingram.
Yes, good call. So I saw an interview with them. They're driving a GMC truck. It was like for GMC, and they're riding around the city, and you could just tell the city's electric for the Detroit Lions, and they've always supported, but in a bag over your head way of support, like laughable, like the lovable, laughable Lions. But now they're the winning Lions, and they got grit and restore the roar and all that. It's different kind of support. And so I respect them that they're going to stick with this bonehead, but he's being a bonehead. I'm like, sorry. When you miss the playoffs by 9 points or something, from 9 field goals, like you said, or 3 field goals, whatever it is.
I don't agree with the philosophy of you have to be a player or not be a player to be a good coach, right? I know that some people are like, oh, well, what do you know? What do you know? You're just online. You didn't play football. And I have to remind people, actually, I did play 1 year of football in 8th grade. So I do know a lot more than you think. I realized that it was not for me. I'm very small and very Caucasian. Just it was not for me. But with saying that, I am a little skeptical sometimes of these kind of players that do become coaches that necessarily just aren't coaching breeds. Like maybe you played, football in college, whatever. But these guys that have these kind of long, extensive careers, and it goes both ways. I mean, look at D'Amico Ryans. He's doing great. I mean, it always, can be a blessing. But I think what happens sometimes is that player mentality comes out instead of that coaching mentality. And they're like, well, I know if I was on the field, I would want to be going for it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reward all my players, tell them I believe in them, and we're going to go for it all the time. And it's like, at some point, you have to be a coach and not be a player. And I feel like sometimes he gets stuck in that mindset of how it used to be, when he was on the field. Because he is kind of a meathead. Like, every time he interviews, he's got that meathead. Yeah. I mean, he's lovable. They love him. I mean, like you said, Detroit still, they have that mantra, Detroit versus everybody, and he adapts that philosophy.
He
100%.
played there.
It's
He
us.
did. I
Yeah,
mean, he played there, so he
yeah,
can. There's some
us
guys that can
against the
pull it
world.
off. Yeah, because he's one of them. He
Mm-hmm.
played for other teams. He was in that famous game where he was the one that was interfered with, if I'm not mistaken, in the Jeff Garcia and Terrell Owens New York Giants playoff game that was the second largest comeback, where Strahan in the third quarter looks up at T.O. and says, and points to the scoreboard like, scoreboard, scoreboard, and the 49ers came back and won. And in the final play, there was pass interference against Dan Campbell that was not called on the 49ers. So that's Dan Campbell's claim to fame when he was with the New York Giants. But he was with the Lions for a while, the Cowboys as well. But he is one of them. You know what I mean? Like they take him in as one of their own.
I mean, my thing is, and I guess this kind of puts a bow on it, is this is the second time in 3 weeks that we are discussing him costing his team a victory.
Yeah. It's not the players. It's not.
It's not exactly. It's not the players.
That's
so it's
tough.
just at some point you got to just kind of look in the mirror, and even though you say you're good enough, you're smart enough, doggone it, people like you. You just got to not go for it on fourth down and just kick the damn field goal. I mean, my God,
Keyshawn could write that book.
Yeah. Just kick the damn ball. Yeah,
I'd love to see that. Because he's still in the media. I'd love to see him say something. That'd be funny. So if he watches, he is a friend of the show. So Keyshawn, get on that.
I think it's actually Ryan Suckup's personal mission. He'll probably write that book. Just kick the damn ball by Ryan Suckup. Forward by Dan Campbell.
Yeah, written for Dan Campbell is what it will be. This book is dedicated to my mother. Thank you for loving me and bringing me to soccer practice, for helping me to learn how to kick. This book is dedicated also to Dan Campbell. Please read this.
This is a how-to guide for Dan Campbell to win football games.
With a forward by the Grammaticas.
This is a how-to for Dan Campbell to not lose football games.
Forward
because
written
they
by
still
the
win.
Grammaticas.
They still win a lot. He doesn't always cost them victory, but every time they have a close game, he snatches victory from the jaws of defeat like he's a seasoned vet.
The 49ers championship game, this is the third time I'm able to bring up the 49ers.
Can you imagine being in a poker game with Dan Campbell though? Oh man, he's probably like Michael Scott on The Office, He's like all in.
All in the first hand. What? You have a 7, a 4, and a king. Oh man. Well, you didn't have it today, bud. Like, what?
Let's see maybe be good to me on maybe the river and the flop.
Yeah, I was
gonna
say.
For you.
Well, check the river. I don't know. Well, nope. It was just a 2 and a 9. You got nothing.
Well, I know that king's coming on the flop. All in.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. It's a jack and a 6.
Meanwhile, your buddies are like 3 sips into their beer. They're like, hold on, what's going on?
Hold on. I just put my ante in. That's all I did. I didn't even.
Stan Campbell's poker night already over?
Yeah. So, I
love the dude, but I mean, I just think it's a problem if we're discussing him causing his team to lose 2 games in 3 weeks.
So, let's shift. What is causing the Chiefs to lose? Because, man, dude, I'll be honest. I know I was over 3 in my picks.
They've been winning. I mean, they started off rough, but they had a little stretch where they were kind of putting the work together. They just beat the Colts. But, I think yesterday Dallas came to play, man, like we were discussing in the previous episode. Dallas has a nice offense. And for some reason, their defense showed up yesterday. Even Tony Romo said it at one point. This defense is for real. I almost spit my drink out when he said it because I'm like, have you been watching them this season? But they were good against the Colts. I mean, good against the Chiefs, but it was a good game. I mean, at least it was a good game. All of the games except for the Ravens-Bengals game were pretty good. And
it had a chance to be good at the end with the last game. We'll talk about that here in a second. Like, it wasn't terrible. The third quarter, by the end of the third quarter, you still thought that the Ravens had a chance if they stopped tripping over their own shoelaces. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But, yeah, you're right. But this game, 31-28, came down to the wire for sure.
I did laugh pretty hard, and it just goes with the territory. But I think it was in the third, and Mahomes was scampering out, and they pushed him out of bounds, clearly in bounds. Both feet were in bounds before they pushed him. And he hadn't even barely went out of bounds for the refs are like throwing the flag, like, oh, you know, and then the other refs runs over there and it's like, no, not at all, you know, calls them off. And I'm just like, why is everyone quick to just throw the flags for Mahomes? Because there were a lot of times that he was given the pouty face. He was, where's the call? You know, at one point, like he's saying it's a first down, you know, he's like doing this, you know, and, you know, basically the Cowboys are like, no, not at all. What are you talking about? You know, and then they even end up getting a penalty on the play. Like they even had, next thing you know, it was like 3rd and 28 or something, you know? So that's one thing I just, that's one of my biggest complaints about Patrick Mahomes. And I know it comes with the territory. There are the Jordan rules. I get that. When you're the best, you know, you get a lot of calls, you get a lot of phantom calls. But he tries to persuade the refs. He tries to play the crowd, and he always has the, you know, woe is me. Why are we being treated unfairly? And it just, that's my knock on him. Amazing quarterback, fun to watch, does things that hardly any other quarterback in the NFL can do, but he just whines a little too much. He's kind of reminds me a lot of LeBron James. He's always looking for the call. What?
He's always looking at J.R. Smith.
When you clear, J.R. Smith's like, huh? What? But still, I mean, it's just like, you know, he knows that it's the right call, but he is still just like, well, how do you do it? And I know that's part of the game.
It is,
but he does it. He just does it way more than any other player. Yeah, so, you know, I mean, it's like I know you see the great ones always trying to get the calls, but you know, just the way it goes. You earn it, but at some point, you have to just own up and be like, yeah, I'm just playing like shit, or yeah, I'm teaming up to par. I mean, they had a 4th down touchdown as well. I mean, they had a lot of things that could have just went the opposite way, and they wouldn't even have been in the game. So, you know, the second touchdown they got, that Travis Kelce 4th down where he caught it in the back of the end zone, that was pretty sweet. Yeah. The old man still had it, although I did see him with some couple dropsies in that game. You know, Taylor Swift probably not too happy with him today.
Thinking divorce already. Yeah, four tutties. 4 tutties for Mahomes. I mean, he didn't stink up the joint with a rating of 129.7. That's not stinking up the joint at all.
And we were talking about Rashee Rice, you know, in last episode, how he's really, really starting to take that next step as elite receiver.
Here he comes. Yep.
Here he goes, two touchdowns.
8 catches, 92 yards. Yeah, he did his thing. You talked about 4th down and Dan Campbell. So these teams went a combined 4 for 4 on 4th down. And their 3rd down conversions were around 50%, both of them. Like, that's good offense, you know?
Absolutely. And they even decided to let their kicker in on some of the fun, too. They even let him kick some field goals, you know, unlike Dan Campbell, you know?
Yeah. So the Cowboys are, you know, I was super thankful and grateful. I know that if they keep winning, they have a chance. But isn't that almost every team, technically, as we get into Cincinnati here?
Well,
technically, every team that keeps winning has a chance, unless you're the Dolphins or Saints or Titans or whatever. Like, come on. I still don't think, I mean, Dallas still has such an uphill climb.
Yeah, but I will say this. In 4-day time span, they have beaten the reigning and previous Super Bowl champs. So
not every team can say that. Not every team can say that.
It's not a bad resume builder. You know, if they were on Career Builder or LinkedIn, they were looking for a gig, they'd be like, well, they did just beat the last 2 Super Bowl champs in 4 days. Maybe we should bring them in for an interview. You know,
right.
So
that's fair. Fair point.
I mean, let's be real. If their defense can take a turn, their offense has already got it clicking. You know, so
that's fair.
George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb are
good.
Tremendous 1-2.
Good. Yeah, they're good to go. Well,
Jake Ferguson is like the second. I think he's the second overall leading tight end in fantasy. So I mean, they've got offense. Javonte Williams, Malik Wilson, like, you know, they got a decent running game. Doesn't have to be spectacular when you've got pass catchers like that. And
right.
You know,
the defense.
Dak's not as bad as, you know. Everybody wants to kind of poo-poo on Dak, but
that pick was bad on the third play of the game. I'm just finishing some turkey. I look up and Casey's already got the ball and scoring. I was like, oh, that's going to be bad news. But I mean, credit to Dallas for more than hanging in. When you give up, when you receive the ball opening the game, and within 4 minutes of that you're losing 7-0, that's, usually the recipe for just disaster. But
And
credit to them,
speaking
I
of
guess.
speaking of losing, Jerry Jones needs to lose that window, man. Like, throw some shade up on it, throw some blinds up on it, man. Even the players are complaining about it. George Pickens is out here like ball bouncing off his face. He's like, I can't see shit. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, and Jerry's just not budging, man. He's like, no. He's like, no,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna roll with it. I don't think it's that big of a deal. And it's like, okay, well, your players, your fans, everyone's just out here blinded by the light, and you're just rolling with it. So,
Yeah,
you
do your
know,
thing, I guess.
I know it's Jerry's world and all, but man, I would have long time ago with my team
Close
struggles.
that thing. Closed
Yeah,
it.
dude. Like, come on, man. But
Both teams
he
have
loves
to
it.
deal with it, but okay, but
Yeah,
one of them is yours. One of them.
yeah, yeah.
How
Yeah, this
about,
isn't. Yeah,
have a shadow?
you're not hosting a college bowl here. This is your home team that you own. Like, give them
Yeah,
a fighting chance
you're
here.
negatively affecting one of those teams which you happen to own and is worth a lot of money, and you want them to stay relevant. But yeah. So let's track their defense. And speaking of tracking a defense, checking, I just got a notification that the Bengals just recovered another fumble, I guess, 12 hours later.
Yeah.
So that's good for them. So now 6 turnovers now for the Ravens. If the Bengals start playing like even a percentage of defense like they were, I know they blitzed a lot, and I think you mentioned this as we were talking right before the show, that Lamar is just not. I think Cincinnati's like, we're like sharks seeing the blood in the water. Like, when he can't move the way that he's
Mhm.
accustomed to, and he's not 100%. I think that's kind of the gist. And if Cincinnati plays like the Dolphins, the Browns, I know that's in your division, but they have a few winnable games. Now they have to play at Kansas City, I think, but other than that, or no, sorry, not Kansas City, it's at Buffalo. The Cincinnati Bengals
Mhm.
still have to play at Buffalo, not the easiest place. It is going to be December in the blink of an eye, so it's going to be super cold, you know. So Cincinnati it's so hilarious. They might find themselves in the exact same spot as last year, where it's going to come down to, if they would have just played defense one extra game and had a decent game, they would make the playoffs. And I think they're probably going to miss the playoffs by maybe one game again if they go on a streak now with Burrow back in and they got their mantra back. That's just hilarious. You couldn't write that script where the same thing happens to the Bengals 2 years in a row, right?
Well, I mean, same thing's been happening to the Bengals for many years in a row, until they got Joe Burrow. But
Yeah. They
but
went
yeah,
to the
no,
Super Bowl. They went to the Super Bowl.
yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying with Joe Burrow. Like, most recent at least.
Yeah.
And unfortunately did not win. It would have been fun to see the Bengals get one. They did not. Doesn't break my heart, but it also, I was kind of rooting for him in a way.
It broke mine because I didn't want the Rams ever to do anything good.
Yeah.
I respect Aaron Donald, I'll say that, but I was obviously upset.
But Lamar's definitely not himself. He's not able to evade. There's a couple times that he was able to get away and get the first down and run, but he's used to running outside, running those sweeps, and just nobody can touch him. And they were all
he
like
looked bad on some plays.
Yeah, they were like ganging up on him. I do think the game would have been completely different if had not been the Isaiah Likely fumble, which was it was just a good defensive play. It really wasn't a bad play by Isaiah Likely. He caught it. He was stumbling, and just the defender made a good play. And the Zay Flowers touchdown, to me, it was a beautiful touchdown. I mean, it was about looked like it was would have been a 70-yard touchdown. And I don't agree with the push off. I mean, he was like, he barely had his hand on his shoulder. When he removed it, the defender didn't even budge. His position didn't change. He was still in the play. And even, when they brought in, whoever, from New York, how they always call in, and they're
Yeah,
like,
Mike
let's
Pereira
get,
or whatever.
yeah, let's get your thoughts on this. He was like, yeah, I don't agree with that at all. I don't think that was pass interference.
Yeah.
So if we're, like our centers at home, if they're scoring at home, late in the game, it would have been 29-28, which would have been a completely different ball game. I think towards the end, Baltimore was a little desperate, and Lamar just kind of heaving it up there.
Pressing.
Yeah, there were some bad passes. The tipped pass was not his fault, but he could have. Well, I mean, I guess it was because he could have got rid of it sooner. But so the interception wasn't necessarily his fault, but getting the pass tipped was. But so I don't know. I just think Baltimore's looked bad. They've barely scraped by. I mean, last week it was 7-0 against the Jets at halftime or something, and it's like, yeah, that ain't gonna fly. So I think his lower leg injuries are piling up on him. I think and that obviously is going to hinder his decision making because he's used to relying on his legs to get open. I mean, but with that being said, there are a couple plays where he's spinning out, rolling out, and he's looking like Lamar. But if those injuries are piling up and they're really, really getting to you, you're not going to be able to sustain that energy the entire game like he's used to. And that's how the offense runs. Like, they don't. Derrick Henry can't take over a game if Lamar's not completing passes because all they're going to do is just stack the box, No, and he's still put in work. Derrick Henry still put in work, but it's like,
not at the same clip, of like normal.
Yeah, but like you said, the blood in the water. Once Cincinnati realized, like, Lamar's a little off tonight, they just started stacking the box. That's why they started running with the backup a little bit because they were like, well, if we throw in the backup, then maybe they think we're not running, and they'll ease off, and we can kind of get them with some play action or whatever. But yeah, Baltimore looks rough. I mean, Ratbirds could care less, but just for the sake of watching good football, I don't enjoy seeing a busted up Lamar 3 weeks in a row. Been relatively boring for a team that's typically fun to watch.
Yeah, it was definitely weird to see. I mean, even I didn't mind Mr. Clapp, Jason Garrett. I didn't mind him on the call. That's all I'll say. I don't think he was great, but he didn't make me say like, "Oh God." It's almost like having a good waiter. You don't if he's that good, you really don't say anything. If it's bad though, you say, "Gosh, the service was terrible." Right? You know what I mean? Like that's how I think Jason Garrett is the just decent server at Applebee's. Like he, you don't tell people you had great service, but you don't complain.
He's the shift manager. He's more than the server. He's the shift manager. It was interesting that he was there. I guess Chris Collinsworth just kind of rolled over and died once the Chiefs lost. He just was like, I'm not coming into work tonight. He was like,
they need someone.
Hey, Tarico. Hey, this is Chris. Not going to make it in. Not going to make it in tonight. Now here's a guy that's not feeling too well.
Call in the career backup. He's been a backup all his life. Yeah, he'll be ready to go. Yeah.
But yeah, he was fine. I mean, he was. Like you said, he's serviceable. He's busting the tables, man.
There's worse out there.
He's bringing your kids dessert. He was doing it all, man. He was trying real hard.
Birthday Sunday.
Yeah. Singing that song to you. Happy birthday from whoever, from Ruby's and the crew. Hey, that's the one we used to have to do. Happy birthday from all of us to you.
Red Robin was, oh man, I really can't remember, and I got to show to some of my Red Robin friends this episode, and I'll have to get it because it was very corny and dorky and very white. I'll say that, exciting whites.
Of course.
So, all right, let's shift to today because got this matchup that I want to go over. Caleb Williams, because we have pooped all over him for 2 years straight, and I'm going to start to give him some flowers, but I want to ask you a question. As he is 213 of 350 for 2,568 yards, 16 tutties, and only 4 picks. The Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer. I'm not counting that. I've said this over and over. I'm not counting a 17th game. Do you think in 16 games, yes or no, can he get to 4,000 yards?
Where's he at? 2,700?
25.
2,500.
And
Well, with what, 5 games to go?
so, right, the Bears are 8-3. That's 11. So 5 games.
5 games to get to
So
16. Yeah. Oh, man. I think he can. I think it's possible. I think it really relies on Rome Odunze because he's been a little hit or miss past couple weeks. I mean, DJ Moore is always DJ Moore, but DJ Moore is at the tail end of his DJ Moore career. He still has the ability to take over games, but he has just been a little lackluster. They've had the Loveland, Colton Loveland, their rookie tight end. He's been great past
yeah,
4
they
weeks.
should have got Warren.
You
They
know?
completely should have got the guy from Penn State who went to the
Yeah.
Colts. That was
Yeah,
hilarious.
that
That's
was-
still hilarious to me.
Yeah, that was a dumb move. But I
yeah,
think they
he has
can.
come
I think
on.
they can. Their running game is a little, I mean,
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift, and I think they have a rookie. I'm not sure, somebody they drafted, but I don't know his name. I'm sure he is a serviceable running back,
Swift.
but the fact that the only person that I really recognize there is DeAndre Swift, and I know that he is on the tail end of his career as well.
649 yards for the
The
year.
reason why the Lions chose to not keep him around, and the Eagles as well.
Right.
So he's on like his third team now. I think it's his third team, maybe his fourth, but I know it's at least his third. So he's still a good running back, but he doesn't have the ability to take over a game like Jamar Gibbs or Saquon Barkley or even the rookie from New England is doing well, Trayvon Henderson. Like that guy is really showing that he can take over a game as well. And DeAndre Swift,
sure.
the Bears don't have that luxury, so that's going to be tough for him to get to 4,000. But he's really turned a corner. If he doesn't get it this season, I think it would probably be inevitable he gets it next season.
So one thing, we mentioned rushing the ball. Bears are second in the league. This is a random stat that I didn't know, which is why you come to Sports Idiot Nation, obviously, for random ass stats. Rushing yards, 142.3 per game, which is good enough for second in the entire NFL for rushing. So the Bears, and that goes to time of possession, that goes to keeping the other team off the field, those type of things, taking the ball out of Caleb Williams' hands to not make bad decisions, because that's kind of his thing sometimes, is you can see Ben Johnson frustrated with him, just either holding the ball too long or sailing it or, not seeing the right guy. So if they do that against the Eagles, it's not just my hatred for them. I think the Eagles are very beatable. Who do you think actually wins the game?
I got to stick with the Eagles. I think that they're just one of those teams that, from the Dallas loss and just stuff like that, like they have to respond. They already have some internal struggles with their players. They have unhappy A.J. Brown. Surprise. Saquon Barkley has been stinking up the joint. I mean, they've got to respond if they want to. Yeah. And I just think that they have the players. They have the leadership. I think, I'm not a fan of Sirianni at all. I think he has the most punchable face in all of any professional sports coach. But
no-brainer.
I'm not going to knock the guy. I'm not going to say that he can't coach or that he can't make sound decisions, because we don't have discussions about him like we do Dan Campbell. Like when it comes down to the Eagles losing, it's usually because one or two plays in the game. It's a turnover by Hurts, or it's relying too much on feeding Saquon Barkley instead of just trying to exploit something else. Or it's the fact that, you've got A.J. Brown happy, so you force feed the ball to him. And, a ball gets tipped and it gets intercepted. I mean, it's always something like that with the Eagles. You never see them just flat out just not show up and just get mollywopped. It just doesn't happen. I mean, they were up 21-0 on the Cowboys, and they just took the foot off the gas, man. Like I said, that's the dumbest way to
get
coach.
Blown out. Yeah.
Yeah, like when you are up on a team, especially a rival, you have to just keep your foot on the throat.
And they've done that before. They were beating Dallas back last year, a couple years ago, they combined both wins. I believe it was like 116 to 42, where it was like the
Mhm.
2 games in which the Eagles and Cowboys play, like something just crazy.
Yeah.
So they have experience with being able to put the, me- you know, pedal to the metal, and they definitely didn't do it. But that's why, at risk of going 0 for 4, I, I, I and the way the
You got
NFL is going,
you
look,
gotta
let me
go with the
say
hot
this.
team. You gotta
Let
go
me
with the
say
hot
this.
team.
But let me say this. Would you be completely shocked out of your gourd if the Bears won? Be honest.
No, no, not at all. Because
That's what I'm saying.
they're a good
They've been
team.
finding a
They're a
way
good
to
team.
win all these ways that they're winning. I know a lot of Bear fans here up in Indiana, and I'll say this. When I have conversations with them, they say the same thing over and over and over. They say it's really actually kind of funny, comical, to see a team in the same circumstances as the last 10 years, except they're getting W's at the end of the day instead of an L. It's the same
Mhm.
type of weird circumstances. They're either up by a few or down by a few, a couple things here and there. A dropped pass becomes a caught pass, and a missed tackle becomes a tackle for loss. And now it sways the game, and now you win by 2 or 3 instead of losing by 4, or a last second field goal doesn't double doink, now it goes in and you win.
Mhm.
It's all these things that the Bears are just kind of what Kansas City was
Well,
doing.
I
They
mean,
won all those small games, those close
I
games.
I think that obviously the players on the field get the credit because they're the ones that executing the X's and
Well,
O's there. But
Ben
yeah, that's what I
Johnson,
say. Ben Johnson is the X factor here. I mean,
his
there's a
Johnson, maybe.
there's that's right. It's Huge Johnson. Oh, huge Johnson though there. There's a reason why Detroit was you had that incredible offense, putting up monster numbers. There's a reason why Dan Campbell has taken over calling the plays because obviously whoever was
Johnny
Ben
Morton.
Johnson's fill in has
Yeah.
not been up to his standards. So so yeah, the guy first year coach doing great. Has basically opened up Caleb Williams. Has improved his confidence tremendously. Maybe that has a lot to do with Caleb Williams just being in his second year, but still, if you got a coach that believes in you and is honest with you, and is not afraid to share his frustrations with you as well as the support, then it helps you become a better player. And not just the Bears have had this carousel of just shitty coaches for so long. They haven't, to me, they haven't had a good coach since Lovie Smith. And then the way they fired him was just ridiculous. It's like they basically fired him because Green Bay had Aaron Rodgers. It's just like,
Yeah.
I mean,
The
like, what do
guy
you
went 10-6 and made the
yeah, what do you
playoffs, and
expect the guy to do? Like he has to go up against Aaron Rodgers in his prime for 5 straight years. Like,
calm
yeah, it's
down.
probably not going to work out in your favor, So I feel like he got a raw deal, and they've been struggling ever since. So maybe Ben Johnson is the one that they've been looking for, and he can form a 6 to 7 year bond here with Caleb Williams. Maybe Caleb Williams winds up being a Bear for life. Who knows? We we'll know in about I think we'll know in about 2 years if he's going to be sticking around or not. Because I mean, usually with these guys, look at Jaden Daniels. He had an amazing rookie season. I know he's been hurt a lot this year, but now I'm sure there's some questions out there with him. People are like, well, we'll have to see how he comes back next season and plays. And
Yeah.
you just get in that little window where it's like, are we ready to go all in and make this guy our franchise QB? Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins. Like sometimes you don't want to make that panic move and shoot yourself in the foot and your bankroll. So, Caleb Williams has the ability to be the Bears franchise QB for eternity as long as he wants to be there. And Ben Johnson has the ability to be a longtime coach with the way that they're performing. So I would not be shocked at all to see them win, but my gut just says Philly's going to answer the call, especially being at home. They're going to ring the bell, ring that freedom bell, and get a dub on Black Friday and then go shopping, man. That's what they're going to do.
I'm
Philly's
gonna
gonna go
wear
shopping.
this. I'm gonna wear this offer. I think I'm gonna stick. I'm gonna draw my line in the sand. I'm gonna go officially with the Bears, and we're gonna shift to college football in 1 second. And I say this because listen to this. Here are the following spreads of the games on Sunday that I have no interest in discussing with you. Okay, here's some of the spreads: 7 points, 6 points, 8.5 points, 11.5 points, 6 points,
Ooh,
10 points, 5.5, and 4.5.
who's
Okay,
11 and a half? Who's 11 and a half?
all garbage games. So 11.5 is Seahawks at home against the Vikings.
Ugh, that's gross.
I have no interest in talking about that. So here's the only game that I have an interest, and it's because of last night with the shift. The Pittsburgh Fighting Aaron Rodgerses have backpedaled in back to first place because they kind of seesawed with Baltimore. So now you have the Steelers at home against the Fighting Josh Allens, and the Bills are still picked to win by 3.5 points. But that's the most intriguing game and the only
Mhm.
intriguing game that I really want to talk about.
Yeah.
And it's 7-4 is Buffalo, 6-5. Again, they kind of backtrack their way into that 6-5 record. They have to be kicking themselves now. If you're the Steelers, like, could Aaron Rodgers could have played it, again, they would be 7-4, and they would be looking down on Baltimore big time with their loss last night, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, ugh.
I Mike Tomlin seems like a no nonsense coach. And I think if he had any inkling that Aaron Rodgers could go, he would have been in there.
I
I
guess.
think Rodgers was honest with him, was probably like, you know, I he is probably like, hey, I can go, but this is where we're limited. This is my mobility. This is, he's got, I know it was on his plant shoulder, like if he was to fall or something, like he has no way to really support himself there, and it could cause more injury. So I think he's just honest, because he's an old man at this point. He's got to be real with himself. He's not out there giving discount double checks. Like he's barely even running, he's barely even throwing the ball deep. He's more so just kind of attacking in the middle of the field. I know that has a lot to do with his personnel. He doesn't believe in many of the guys. I'm not so sure that he even, believes in any of them at some point. Every time they drop a ball, he has a look like he's going to, break
like,
into
why
their
did
house
I come
later.
here? Why couldn't I just hold out for Minnesota? It's like,
And Metcalf has just really, I think, been a disappointment. He's had some flashes, but I mean, to get rid of George Pickens and seeing what he's doing now,
yeah, how'd that
it's
work
kind of
out?
like, and I know he was a little disgruntled there, but I mean, aren't all wide receivers disgruntled?
Yeah,
I mean,
like,
that's literally why they're called divas.
Yeah.
I mean, they are all divas. Doesn't matter whether it's T.O. or, talking about A.J. Brown or Keyshawn Johnson. Like, they're all divas. That's why,
That's how it goes.
So yeah, I think that Rodgers was just probably honest with him, and Tomlin was like, all right, Mason Rudolph knows the offense enough to maybe get us a win, and they almost did.
It's not his
they
first
almost
rodeo.
Did,
Yeah.
So yeah, he's used to people coming up the last minute and asking him to save Christmas. So I mean, he thought he could save one more game, but
The red-nosed quarterback.
yeah, we'll kind of see what happens there. It still would have been fun to see Aaron Rodgers beat the Bears in another uniform.
He did say, "I still own you." I saw that clip of him. Some fan released it as a reel, and NFL picked it up or something. And I saw it just scrolling that he was just casually talking to Bears fans, and he was just having a laugh about it. But he was like, "I still own you," and he wasn't even. He was wearing a hoodie. I think he might have been wearing one of ours. I don't know. I just saw it was a black hoodie, which you can hit the link.
Don't need to look it up. If you saw it on the internet, it's true.
Obviously. So, yeah, Aaron Rodgers, I don't know what in this game. I don't know if he is even going to play officially. And
he's cleared. He's cleared.
Okay, he's supposed to play.
Yeah, he's officially cleared. Yeah, he is a backup on one of my fantasy squads. I got the notification yesterday. It's like,
okay.
Ding,
okay,
Aaron Rodgers is healthy.
You're like, cool. I didn't. Thanks.
I'm like, well, he's not starting for me anyway. But
yeah, I guess I got the Bills. I mean, whether it's Aaron Rodgers or Bubby Brister, it doesn't matter. I think.
Just depends on what Bills team you get. Depends on what Bills team you get. I mean, they're out here losing to the Texans, the Dolphins,
the
Falcons.
Dude, they're losing to some weird. Why can't they play the 49ers this year of all years if they're going to do that? they played us the last couple years and just demolished us. Like, good Lord. So yeah,
Well, we do.
I think the right Bills team will show up. They don't like what they're seeing in New England, and they kind of want to make sure that they make playoffs. And they would be 7-5. That doesn't say that out loud. The Bills would be 7-5.
Well,
That's everyone's pick
look
for
at
the
the
Super
Chiefs.
Bowl.
Look at the Chiefs. I mean, you
Yeah,
know.
but I said the Chiefs wouldn't make the playoffs. I said that like 3 months
Yeah,
ago.
but up until probably yesterday, they were still like plus 500 favorites to win the
the
Super
odds
Bowl, which is
makers,
just insane to me. I don't understand that. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, before we move on from NFL, though, we should do a 30-minute segment about how exciting the Titans-Jags game will be this week.
Yeah, at least 30. At least we could
Yeah.
go, highlight
Yeah.
every player. The one thing I
Yeah.
will say
Yeah.
is, wow, isn't it a shame that Travis Hunter can't play both ways? Like, who saw that coming? Like, what?
I know.
What a shocker!
It makes you wonder about, up in Colorado, whether he was being used as a two-way player because it was beneficial for the team, or whether he was being used as a two-way player to highlight and bring attention to Colorado and Dion's shenanigans. You know what I mean? Because now you got some high NFL execs. Of course, in these stories are always, unspoken. Like they don't release any names, but they're all like, yeah, he was completely overused there, just to kind of for Dion's little toy, kind of just to show off. And it makes you wonder now about what kind of career he's going to have.
Well, here's the thing: he wasn't, as far as rookies go, rookie DBs. I don't think he was top 3 so far, like before he got hurt.
No.
And as far as a receiver, I don't think he was top 3 receivers. So now you drafted him way, 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 way high. Overall, he was top 3, I know, right? What number was he? Do you know? I think second
Jags
or
traded
third.
back up. Yeah, I think it was third.
Okay.
Yeah, because they traded back up. We were joking about that. They were like, here, the Titans can't even. The Jags like single-handedly took away the minimal excitement the Titans had. Like it was like, oh, they pick, oh, it's over. Oh, what's this? Trade back in Jacksonville. It's like, fuck you, Jacksonville. That's why we can't have nice things.
Yeah, you get a guy who is a good athlete, but he's not even top 5 as a DB or a receiver, and he plays both positions. And now he's playing 0. By the way, he's playing 0 positions.
And
like,
the Heisman Trophy is an amazing honor. It is,
no.
but it's just the Heisman Trophy does not guarantee you a successful NFL career, and then sometimes you don't even get drafted. I mean, that year that the kid from Oklahoma won the Heisman, he didn't even get drafted next year. He like signed on as an undrafted free agent, and it's like, we've seen so many like running backs over the years, Rashawn Salam, people like that are just like, oh, they won the Heisman, and then they get to the NFL, and it's like Kajana Carter. I think Kajana Carter won the Heisman, I believe.
My favorite is Troy Smith, quarterback from Ohio State.
Yeah, that's another one right there.
One of my favorites of okay. Because he went to the Niners eventually as third string, and I would put him as first string in Madden, and I would just run bootlegs, 40-yard gain every time.
I think he's still, he's been a decent serviceable backup. I think he was in Baltimore for a while. I think he's back in Baltimore now or something.
No, not Troy Smith. You're thinking of maybe Hundley or something like that. Troy Smith has been...
No, yeah, that's right. But Troy Smith was at Baltimore many years ago. But yeah, Hundley's who's there now.
But he has not been in the league for quite some time now.
Yeah,
you're showing your age, T.I. You are showing how old you are.
Tyler Huntley is who's there now in Baltimore.
And Troy Smith has not been a thing for like 10 years. but
yeah, RG3 started out like gangbusters. Of course, he got ran on the ground. But it's just Heisman does not guarantee you, amazing NFL career. Mark Ingram had a pretty good career. Who else won the Heisman? Devonta Smith, I think, won the Heisman. He's having a decent career, but
he's been good.
You just never know.
Right. So speaking of Heisman, before we get into college football, I want to answer our question of the week, and it was that if you were commissioner for a day of any of the leagues, and I hinted that mine was going to be about baseball, what rule would you change? And I was thinking about this the other day when the NBA courts for the NBA Cup are just, it's like an AAU game. The courts are ridiculous colors, but at least every team is doing it, and it's like a thing, and they're not changing. The 3-point line doesn't change for the NBA Cup, or a certain team doesn't have a longer or shorter 3-point line, because that would be crazy. In the NFL, when you play in Cincinnati, it's not 105 yards, but in Dallas, it's 103. No, it's 100 yards, and you got 10-yard end zone, so that's 10 and 10. It's 120. It's 120 yards with the goalposts are exactly the same. In Arizona, the goalposts aren't 5 inches smaller than in Tennessee. It's the same. And yet in baseball, in San Francisco, if you are left-handed, good luck. If your name is not Barry Bonds, good luck. No lefties want to play in San Francisco because they know that their numbers will plummet. And I'm tired of 421 feet at one stadium, and then the Yankees, it's 309, the short porch. I get the Green Monster is super cool. I get the Ivy is cool at Wrigley, but I just don't. When they have the statistics the way they do now with the velocity, where you can precisely show certain players have missed out on maybe 17 home runs in a season, because if they were to play all their games in Houston, let's say, they would have 17 more home runs because of the dimensions. If you really stop and think about it, it is so bizarre that in the MLB, you can have different. I just don't get it. I would absolutely change it, and it would be 400 dead center, and it would be 330 on right field and left field.
I mean, I can't argue with you. You know, I do like the individuality of ballparks. I do like that everybody tries to do their own thing. But, you know, I mean, fair is fair. I mean, that's a good argument, you know. I, for one, you know, this is a tough one. And I think I'm just going to have to just not necessarily be the commissioner or the league operator of either of these. And I'm just going to have to take the universal sport of football. And what I would like to see is I would like to see the college rules of pass interference be adopted to the NFL, where it's not a spot foul. It's 15-yard penalty. Because I think in college, you know, obviously, sometimes they just plays dead. Oh, crap, he's going to get a touchdown. I'm just going to take him out, you know, because I know I'd rather just give up the 15 yards instead of give up the touchdown. Yeah. And in the NFL, as we were talking about the Zay Flowers call, I mean, it's like, you know, even if that was defense, right, you know, and it was just a little iffy, then Baltimore's going to automatically get the ball on the 2-yard line, you know? And so my thing a lot of times with that is you'll see, especially when a team's down, needs a quick play, they're just trying to play the pass interference. They'll chuck it down there and hope that there's some that. And I just think it's a little cheap. So, but on the flip side, we're going to exchange rules here. And this might not be very popular with college football enthusiasts, but I need to see 2 feet. I need to see 2 feet in. I need to see 2 feet.
Because at the next level, yeah. I know. I'm hardcore with you. Hardcore.
I mean, it's like, oh, so you're
now,
going
Indiana
to the NFL
loses
next year.
at Penn State. Indiana loses.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
and that's anyway. I mean, that's any of our teams will lose heartbreakers on that. I get it. So I mean, it's nothing that's singling out any one particular team or play. It's just over the years, I've always just felt it's a little cheap. I'm like, okay, so you're going to the NFL. Let's take, you know, what's his name from Ohio State, their receiver, Jeremiah Smith, isn't that his name? I think that's his name. I haven't watched a whole lot of outside of highlights of Ohio State, but so you mean to tell me, or even Marvin Harrison Jr., let's just take any of these guys. So you mean to tell me that it's going to be tough for them to get 2 feet in when they're literally going to the NFL next year? Like,
no,
what kind of
not,
big?
No
it's
one
just
is saying
so
that.
silly
I
to
don't
me.
think anyone is saying that at all.
Yeah, so it's like I've always thought that's silly. So let's see the NFL rules for pass be translated into college, and let's see the college rules for pass interference be translated to NFL, because I think we would start seeing cleaner games, especially on the ref standpoint, because at that point you're going to have players that are, oh shit, I'm beat. I'm going to either, reach out and hold, or I'm just going to, completely pass interference because, hey, I'm going to give up 15 yards in the ball. And let's be real, in the NFL, giving up 15 yards and a new set of downs is still a crusher. I mean, but seeing a team go from the 15, to the other team's 20 on an iffy call from a ref is kind of sus. That's my take. Granted, I like it when it happens to my team. Hey, awesome, here we are. But
Right.
just in general, for a cleaner game and for, I think, more parity, I would like to see the 15 yards, and not be a spot foul. That's my take.
Great, not a hot take at all. Great take out of you. Wholeheartedly agree. You mentioned Ohio State. You would make a great full-time podcast host, as you segued beautifully into Ohio State, the game. I want to give a shout out to Ohio State and Michigan. If both of them fell into Lake Michigan and they drowned, I would just be like, oh, okay. But for their game to be called the game, that's like pretty cool. Like, I will admit that not in sports, there is not a bigger rivalry. I will say it's more than Alabama Auburn. I will say it's more than Giants Dodgers. I mean, Michigan Ohio State is pretty up there. I am very excited as a fan of sports. I'm very excited to watch this game. You'll get a kick out of this. I'm going to some good friend's house. Miles knows these people very well. He is a diehard Michigan, and he married a diehard Ohio State. And they found a way to love each other, I think. And so it's going to be fun. I'm going to their house.
Please tell me they don't have one of those house divided license plates on the front of their car.
So they do have, I think, maybe a calendar on the fridge, or I've mentioned him. His name is David, and he has I've shown you a picture of his turtle stuff. It's that guy. So it's Paul's brother, who we did Safe Space with, our previous podcast with Miles. So that's who it is. He follows Turtles Idiot Nation, as you should as well. But I am excited to see that. And here's what I'll say. I talked to a lot of Michigan fans this past weekend, went out on Blackout Wednesday and blacked out. But before that, a lot of Michigan fans said, look, we're on to basketball. We are crushing people, as Michigan handed Gonzaga their first 40-point loss since 1990. Think about that. Gonzaga has not lost by 40 since 1990. It's 2025, folks. So Michigan, of course, they're going to say that because they think they're going to lose. So they're like, oh, we're on to basketball. But deep down, I pulled someone aside. I'm like, no, come on, really, what's the deal? They said, look, for a decade, a few years ago, Ohio State was beating us every year, and we couldn't take it. It was terrible. Life sucked. But then we won 4 or 5 in a row. So now, if we lose a random year like this year, like, at least we know the rivalry's back. It wasn't even a rivalry. If you beat a team 10 times in a row, it's kind of like, well, it's not a rivalry anymore. Jim Harbaugh went for it on 4th down a few years ago. They didn't get it. That was like the closest they got. And then they reeled off 4 or 5 in a row. And so I don't know who I have in this game. I think Michigan has a better chance than they did last year to win based on the team that they have. And Michigan freaking won. And I give them a better chance this year. But it's at Michigan. So now you give them an even bigger chance. I'm just really intrigued. I know you're all in for the Bama-Auburn game. I want to get your take on what I just said. Do you feel that way as far as the rivalry, as far as like, gosh, it just sucks when one team wins 10 against us, because it's like, it's not so much a rivalry anymore, and it's like so embarrassing.
Well, I mean, when Gus Malzahn was there, he had the most success against Nick Saban than any coach ever in SEC. And he's always had pretty good success against most coaches. He just, towards the end of his hurrah at Auburn, he just kind of fizzled out a little bit. I still disagree with him getting canned. I thought he deserved one more year. And Auburn's been paying for it ever since. Sometimes you don't know what you got till it's gone. And so, there were moments when, Bama was down, a couple years when Bama was down, before they got Saban, the Shula years, all that. Auburn, there were some Iron Bowls. Auburn were handling them pretty busy. I mean, pretty hefty. And I would never get bored with it by any means, but I did get the point where I was like, well, hey, if Alabama were to win this year, it's not that big of a deal kind of thing. But doesn't mean that it still doesn't, sting as much or doesn't mean as much if they lose or win. It just kind of loses a little bit of the luster, So I could see where a Michigan fan could say that, or even Ohio State on the flip side. But at the end of the day, you still want to beat your rival. You want to beat them to a pulp. Like in Auburn's situation, they always play Bama really hard. There have been very few just complete blowouts. And
5.5 is the spread. 5.5.
Yeah,
it's at Auburn.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like it's going to come down to one of those things in the fourth quarter where Auburn, has a turnover and screws it up, or maybe they just get in there and shock the world. But I think at least in Michigan and Ohio State situation, at least most of their matchups, they're both ranked. I know Michigan I think is 15 right now. Ohio State's obviously 1. So, I mean, that's still a nice top 25 matchup,
It's 9.5 spread, though.
Yeah.
That's crazy for over a touchdown on the road.
I think Ohio State's going to beat them this year. I just do. I think they're on this revenge tour where people.
I do, too.
I think their team's even better than last year.
That defense, boy.
But it's still a rival. Anything can happen.
No, for sure.
Nasty.
Will we, again, like I said, will you be shocked if the Bears win? No. Will you be shocked if Michigan wins tomorrow? No.
Nah, not at all. But my gut says Ohio State.
Mine too.
Yeah, and I mean, even as an Auburn fan, talking about Auburn, Alabama, I mean, I think Alabama's going to win the game. I do, but hey,
you're going to watch and you're going to to be excited, and
I'm going to watch and
see if they can hang in and make it interesting.
And if Auburn were to win, I'm going to get on the internet and troll everyone.
Yep, and it's going to be a fun show Monday. I'm
going to say www.didalabamalose.com.
I will say this: be sure to tune into Monday's show if Auburn finds a way, because I'm going to give you full reins. Because I'm going to want full reins when I have my day. When UCLA does something good in the next 10 years, it's probably how long it's going to be. I want my time too, so I have to be able to offer it to you if that happens. So be ready.
We'll have to get our Sports Uncorked pals on here to talk a little Bama Auburn. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, a couple years ago, I talked about the Gravedigger play where we had them dead in the water. It was 4th and 40 or something, 4th and 38. And, he's, what's his name? Milroe, Jalen Milroe. I think he's in Seattle now. He drops back. He's running around, scampers around. What's he do? Catch it in the back of the end zone. 1 foot in, 1 foot, might I add. Like to revisit that with 2 feet in bounds with my rule change since I'm the commissioner. But, yeah, I mean, so Alabama always finds a way to crush our hopes on these games that we should not win. And then the games where we are expected to win in the past, we typically will win, or it'll come down to, literally who has the ball at the last 30 seconds. So, we'll see. They do play each other tough, man. So I'm not saying that we don't have a shot, because we always have a shot in the SEC. Any given Saturday, there's a reason why you play in the SEC. Like the outside of the cupcakes that you play when you're not playing an SEC team, you're playing some pretty hefty talent. You're playing some defenses that are going to be in the NFL.
Samford.
Yes. Yeah. I'm sorry. Did you say Stanford?
No. Samford.
Not that Stanford's even that up to par. Yeah.
Until Andrew Luck starts coaching, like in the next year or so.
The thing outside of the cupcakes that they play in between schedules, like you're facing good defenses week in and week out. You're up to the challenge. So, we'll see. I'm to be honest, I'm more interested in Tennessee and Vanderbilt than I am even the Iron Bowl. just because living in Tennessee my life.
Yeah, people going
living
berserk
ti-
probably.
10 minutes from Vandy. People have always they just always make fun of Vandy, and they're just always down on them. And I just don't. I think a
They're
lot of
outranked. They're outranked
yeah,
this
I
year.
think a lot of Tennessee fans they won't admit it, but deep down, I think they're scared of this game. I think they're very concerned.
How could you not be? They're ranked number 14. They have a Heisman candidate. They're 9-2. It's a better record than 8-3 where I come from. So Vanderbilt is officially better. There's no argument. So of course you have to be scared of Vandy, which is funny.
So,
but
and I like being able to, not have an emotional invested interest in a game that is still interesting to me because of the proximity of where I live. So,
right. Yeah, it'll be funny to troll whoever loses, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely.
You'll have the post ready. You're just like this, ready to type, like keyboard warrior, ready.
But
no matter what.
I mean, when they beat Bama a couple years ago, they had the goalpost. They took the goalpost down, threw it in the river. I mean,
that
they're
was awesome.
They're marching it down Broadway. Cops are just like, let them do it.
Let them do it. It's not going to happen again for 100 years. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, what? They're on there's like a video of all the cops talking to each other, that leaked out, and they're just like, yeah, I don't know what to do. They're going in the river, and they're just, the cops are beeping in, just back off, just let them do their thing, They're walking around the giant goalpost, or a bunch of, kids with their collars popped.
The boosters will take care of it. The boosters will pay for it. We'll figure it out. We'll do it.
They're Vanderbilt students. This isn't LSU. We don't have to worry about them. Okay, they're Vanderbilt students. Like,
it'll be fine.
It's a bunch of future doctors and lawyers there. So
this is fine. All right. So I think you might have some fun no matter what on Monday, because I just realized you'll be able to make fun of a major team in your state, no matter how you slice it. So stay tuned. Should be a fun show Monday, no matter what happens.
To make fun of two of them. Maybe I get to make fun of two major teams in the state, because there's no guarantee the Titans win against the Jaguars. But I have predicted that they do win this week. I have said this is the game.
Shocker.
That we win. This is the game that we even though everybody wants to tank for a draft pick. In which I think, even if we did win, we'll still be.
So it's like, who would you draft at number 1 anyway?
That's the thing. We would just be trading with whoever is clamoring for, for Fernando.
I don't know how this
could
goes.
be Miami. It could be the Jets.
This is going to be fun.
Could be the Saints.
Last year was not as fun. Like, last year was fun going into draft, but this year will be, hands down, will be more fun. Talking draft talk, I think. Just
and
the way it's going to
obviously they would. I don't know. They would probably go with the lineman, but to me, I would like to see them go with a receiver. The kid from Arizona State, or the kid from Ohio State.
Linemen. Just 9 linemen. Just get 9 of them.
Yeah, or they need to just draft Fernando and Mendoza, and then have him and Cam, and give Cam some challenge, and then see who wants the team more. See who wants the team more in 2 years.
Levis at flanker. Will Levis at flanker?
Yeah, I think Levis will get moved, because I think there's some teams that would be willing to give him a new home and see what he can do, especially after he had shoulder surgery.
In the CFL? I don't know if
you saw. Well, no, I don't know. I think you got to take the Niners, for instance, perfect example, right? How many teams wouldn't even have given Mac Jones a shot? Hey, he gets in there, he's thrown in with the Wolves, having to throw to dishwashers and backups and people you never heard of because they're all so injured, and he still gets you, ekes you out some wins. Coaching matters, man. Coaching matters, and Shanahan's a good coach. Some of these guys, I could see him landing somewhere as a backup and then being thrown in somewhere, because they could get him for cheap. Yeah. But I don't know if you saw when he had his injury, he showed a picture of it
on his shoulder. Ball.
Well, Cam Scattaboo showed his the other day, and it's the same damn thing. It looked exactly the same. And Levis was out there playing with it all season. I'm like, oh, how the hell were you doing that, man?
Yeah.
So,
that's why he threw underhand sometimes.
Yeah. But I need some competition there for Cam. So I would love to see him draft Mendoza and just say, hey, best man wins. But especially with the new coach coming in, new philosophy, I mean, that's another thing too. When you got the number 1 pick and you're bringing in a new coach, all chips are on the table at that point, right?
Right, because it's not his guy. Obviously,
Yeah.
Cam Ward is not this new coach's guy per se, and Cam
Yeah.
hasn't shown enough to show that he's anyone's guy. Honestly, in my
It's
opinion.
it's like when Vrabel and Matt LaFleur were here. Vrabel comes in, he's got Marcus Mariota, and he's like, oh, okay, and Matt LaFleur is out here trying to work with him. They're doing the best they can. The minute that Mike Vrabel was able to trade for Tannehill, it was like a cartoon, like Love Eyes. He was just like, every time he looked at Tannehill, he was just like, that's my guy. And the second he got a chance to put him in there, he did. And then, as we know, the rest is history. Matt LaFleur, the second he could get out of here, they were like, hey, do you want to stay here in Tennessee and keep coaching Marcus Mariota, or do you want to go to Green Bay and work with Aaron Rodgers? He's like, yeah, I'll go to Green Bay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just like, I hate to harp on Mariota. Dude's still got a career. I mean, hell, he's starting
Washington
for Washington again this week. So yeah, I mean, coaching to me matters for sure. So it's just going to be interesting to see what they do with that first pick. I mean, obviously, if they have some sense, they will trade it for a haul and start this rebuild the right way. But at least I will say this: Bergonzi, his rookies that he's got are producing. They're playing. Chimere is about to break the all-purpose yards record in the NFL this season. He's on pace to shatter it, which is insane. Gunnar Helm's doing nice. Alec Ayamore, I don't know how you say his last name. I think it's Ayamore, but I mean, when he hasn't been hurt, he's been doing good. So I mean, maybe Bergonzi's a good drafter. So we'll see. We just have really screwed the pooch last couple drafts. So I'm just hoping they don't stick to that number 1 pick and just take whoever they think is the best option, because it ain't going to be the right option.
Well,
I'm still mad about the J.C. Latham pick, man. I'm still mad about that.
Yeah, that's awkward because I know him and Terrion Arnold, who got torched yesterday. Like, just torched. I mean, I know it was against, good. It wasn't like against scrubs, but I just felt you feel kind of bad when you meet someone, you have a cool connection, like, hey man, hope you do well, when they were at Bama, and now they're in the NFL and like, not doing the greatest. It's it's just like
Latham's doing okay. He's doing okay, but man, he commits too many penalties. He had like 2 weeks ago had a flawless game from just a protection standpoint, but he had 4 offensive penalties there, false starts, and drive killers.
He did it at Bama. You hate to see it, but he did it at Bama too.
And Jeffrey Simmons had to call him out of practice for his lack of effort a couple times, and it's like, I don't like hearing that, man.
From a first round pick, right? Wasn't he?
Yeah, 7th overall pick. The year I said, please to God, draft Brock Bowers, the guy who literally said, where do you want to play at? He's like, I'd love to play in Titans. I mean, it's like he wanted to be here, So, and that would have been a nice weapon for a Cam Ward or a Will Levis. Everybody was like, oh, well, you got to protect the line. You got to have a line. And I'm like, you can find a lineman in the 4th and 5th round.
Him. Yeah, a way to protect him is have someone to throw to. Yeah.
Give him a weapon. Give him a quick out. Give him somebody that he can turn around and 5 yards out, gone. And then he doesn't have to worry about people hitting him. So, but what do I know? I'm just an idiot. Guy only went on to break the rookie record of tight ends.
This is why you have to stay tuned to see what us fellow idiots will talk about next. Definitely the draft that comes up in a few months will be something to talk more about. Remember, new episodes come to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, which means we will see you Monday. Thank you for watching this episode of Sports Idiot Nation. Remember, we are on all social media and on YouTube, and the podcast can be found on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Remember, new episodes are every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And remember, because you watch Sports Idiot Nation,
you would be the smartest idiot in the whole world.